Cary A. Stayner is also known as the Yosemite Killer. He is a murderer whose characteristics was rape and beheading. His murders of at least four victims occurred between February and July 1999. His victimology includes Carole Sund, her daughter Juli, their Argentine friend Silvina Pelosso, Joie Ruth Armstrong, and his methodology is strangulation with throat cutting in Mariposa County, California. On December 12, 2002, he was sentenced to death. Welcome back to the TCL podcast. My name is Breezy, and here we talk about murder and other forms of crime. I do have a YouTube channel that you can go check out. I also have a Patreon that you can join. By joining, you'll receive early access to episodes scheduled to come out. I also have a merch shop that you can go buy something from. Come on, go get your Valentine's Day gifts, right? For any updates, you can find on my channel. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Now, with that being said, let's dive into today's episode on the TCL podcast. Today, we are finishing up our Valentine's Day mini-series, and we will be starting a new mini-series in a couple of weeks. The only Valentine's Day that I like is the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, which, if you've been listening, you know February 14, 1929 is my favorite only Valentine's Day that I actually like. I hate Valentine's Day, and let's be clear, I'm not anti-love. It's a dark holiday, and it has origins, but is overly commercialized that nobody realizes. But Stayner was born and raised in Mercer, California. His younger brother Stephen was kidnapped by a child molester, Kenneth Pornell, in 1972 and held captive for more than 7 years before escaping and being reunited with his family. Stayner would later say that he felt neglected by his parents' grief over the loss of Stephen, and he would also later claim when he was 11 he was molested by his uncle. So, when Stephen escaped and returned home in 1980, he received a massive media attention. A true crime book and TV show, both titled I Know My First Name is Stephen, was made about the ordeal. Stephen died in a motorcycle accident in 1989. That following year, Stayner's uncle, with whom Cary was living with at the time, was murdered. Stayner attempted suicide in 1991 and was arrested in 1997 for possession of marijuana and methamphetamine. All the other charges were eventually dropped. Why don't we talk about his crimes some? Well, in 1997, he was hired as a handyman at Cedar Lodge Motel in El Portal, just outside the Highway 140 Arch Rock entrance into Yosemite National Park. Between February and July 1999, he murdered 4 women: Carole Sund, her daughter Juli Sund, their travel companion, Argentine exchange student Silvina Pelosso, and Yosemite National Institute employee Joie Armstrong. The first 2 victims, Carole and Silvina, were found in the trunk of the charred remains of Carole's Pontiac rental car. Both bodies were burned beyond recognition, but they were identified using dental records. A note into top of the note, it said, We have fun with this one. Interesting. So, investigators went to the location depicted on the map, found the remains of Juli, whose throat had been cut. Detectives began interviewing the employees of Cedar Lodge, where the first 3 victims had been staying just prior to their death. One of the employees was Cary Stayner, but he was not considered a suspect at this point because there was no criminal history, and remained calm during these police interviews. When the decapitated body of the 4th victim, Joie Armstrong, was found, eyewitnesses said that they saw a blue 1976 International Scout parked outside the cabin where Armstrong was staying, and detectives traced the vehicle to its owner and turned out to be Cary. This caused Stayner to become the prime suspect in the case, with FBI agents John Bowles and Jeff Rennick found Stayner staying at the Laguna del Sol nudist resort in Wilton, where he was arrested. His vehicle yielded evidence linking him and the victim to Joie Armstrong. During interrogation, he confessed to 4 murders as well as sending the map to finding Carole Sund. Stayner claimed his arrest he had fantasized about murdering women since he was 7. That's long at the abduction of his brother. So what happened at sentencing? Well, he pled not guilty by reason of insanity. His lawyers claimed that he has had a family history of sexual abuse and mental illness, manifesting itself not only in the murders but also in Stayner's request for child pornography. This was in return for his confession and OCD, and he was nevertheless found sane and convicted of 4 counts of first-degree murder by a jury in 2001. In 2002, during the penalty phase of his trial, he was sentenced to death. An appeal is pending. He's currently housed at the Adjustment Center on death row in San Quentin Penitentiary in California. So what about the media in this case? Well, the investigation and arrest of Stayner was featured in an episode of FBI's Criminal Pursuit entitled Trail of Terror. On July 26, 1999, a motel handyman and recreational nudist confessed to killing the 3 Yosemite sightseers. As well. On Saturday, 48 hours of Armstrong's within 48 hours of Armstrong's killing, and they in charge James Maddox announced at the press conference that a man was in custody on suspicion of which was a significant announcement. Their suspect had been questioned after the triple killings in February, but at the time, no evidence linked itself to Stayner, and he had been released. That's crazy right there, guys. This is just topping the case off. There's so much that could go into this case. I could probably take a whole 2 episodes to do this, but for time-wise, and I am in the middle of finals, I can't. So, yeah, I will see y'all next time. Y'all have a happy Valentine's Day and a great day.